the time has come,
the walrus said.
Greetings everyone, the time has come for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I'm Jockey, no cat here today, this is, it's just me, and, this is a very anticipated game for me, just going into this year of the channel. You know, in the start of this year, I first started doing 16-bit games, and I did lots of great games like Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario World, and the first Sonic the Hedgehog. But this probably was the one I was looking forward to most. I mean, not to say those games are any worse than this one, they have their qualities too. But I just absolutely love playing this game. It's an absolute blast. I'm deciding to keep the Sonic jacket since it seems a bit more appropriate than just a blue shirt. Maybe I'll use the blue shirt when I get back to Mega Man, eventually. So, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I forget what year this released. It probably said on the title screen and I just ignored it like an idiot. But this is another Sega Genesis classic, I'm really looking forward to it. And the key innovation that is instantly introduced to the title screen, and you can find in the options menu here, is Sonic now is not alone. He has his partner Tails. Not that kind of partner. Or maybe? I'm tempted. Because there's the thing, I'm just going to get a bit ahead of myself, but I know I'm doing an extra part and it's got to be with Sonic. So I'm tempted to do just Tails alone, to do a new kind of thing, and since I won't be able to do that in a lot of other Sonic the Hedgehog games later down the line. But in the spirit of their friendship and in the standard playthrough that most people did when they played this game, I'm going to be going through it with both Sonic and Tails. Now you may wonder, how do you control both characters at once? I don't control Tails. Tails is just an AI doing what you want, helping out at certain points, jumping on enemies and bosses and all that. Why am I explaining this? I'll just show you. We're starting off in the first act. As you can see, Tails is just following behind me, helping out. Which, by the way, his full name is actually not just Tails, it's Miles. Miles Tails Prower. And Tails, as you can see, he got hit. He didn't lose any rings, he didn't lose any lives. He's just unstoppable, unkillable. And the second controller, if I go ahead and start... Oh, that does not control the second controller. That's also the first controller. But anyway, take my word for it. The second controller is actually able to control Tails and move them around. They have all the infinite lives. So if you have like a little sibling who hasn't really played video games before, this is a great introduction to them because they don't necessarily have to keep up with everything and they don't have to worry about lives or continues or any of that, but they get all the joy that the Sonic the Hedgehog series brings. Now, as for the actual game itself, that's just all of Tails' mechanics. The game itself has the same momentum, fast speed, and great graphics that the first Sonic the Hedgehog had. That's of course to be expected from a sequel, but a lot of great new things are introduced. First of all, is this new move called the Spin Dash. Essentially, hold down, I'm using a Super Nintendo controller so it's weird with Sonic, but hold down on the D-pad, then you mash the jump button and they'll start to whir up. And once you release down, they'll speed off. And that's kind of a way you can... a lot of people don't like the Spin Dash. They prefer Sonic the Hedgehog 1... They prefer Sonic the Hedgehog 1 style because you have to gain your own momentum and speed. And this just gives you an instant access to build your speed up go. Which they could see as kind of like cheating or too simple-minded. But I think it's an important mechanic because a lot of times you'll get stuck on like a slope. And going back and then forth and building up the speed, yeah, that does present a bit of a challenge, but it's also not really fun. And that kind of goes against the mentality of the Sonic the Hedgehog series. So I really like the Spin Dash. It fits perfectly into the Genesis games, and it's integrated really well. It doesn't break the game or anything like that. Other than that, Sonic controls exactly the same, I would say. Most of the mechanical differences are actually in the game and the levels themselves, because, to be honest, the momentum of Sonic and the feel of controlling was the best part of the first Sonic the Hedgehog game, so they just made a small little addition with the Spin Dash, with Tails, and left most of the rest of the innovations to the levels themselves. Now, one big innovation is with special stages. No longer is it 50 rings and then at the end of the stage you get a special stage. Now it's 50 rings and at a checkpoint you get a special stage. Now, the important distinction is that checkpoints are much more abundant than the ends of levels. So you can actually get all of the Chaos Emeralds in the first zone of the game if you hunt down all the checkpoints. But I won't be doing this. In fact, I won't be even getting all the Chaos Emeralds. You see this stage here? This is this half-pipe where you gotta collect rings, and you get enough, then you're on to the next threshold, and eventually you get an emerald. And I am terrible, absolutely terrible at these special stages. Part of me wonders if it's actually the game's difficulty or just flat out being unfair. A lot of these curves and turns, they come to you very quickly, and this may look just like good fun, but those bombs are introduced. Those bombs will take away rings, making it much harder to get the Chaos Emerald at the end of the stage. In addition, Tails is collecting his own rings, but he can also be hit by the obstacles, and he can also lose rings in here, unlike in the standard version of the game. The worst part is that going after all these special stages and getting all 7 Chaos Emeralds, which there are 7 now, instead of 6 for some reason, it very much hinders the main adventure. It's really a fun, fast-paced fun, I used fun twice, it's a fun, fast-paced adventure all throughout. But when you're trying to hunt down 50 rings, you're trying to hunt down the checkpoints, and you're trying to constantly break it up with these special stages that take too long and are just not fun, yeah, it just becomes less of a fun game. I personally highly, and this is the only time I've done this in any game on my channel, I highly recommend you do not go for 100% completion. Maybe on a second or third playthrough, but do not have your first experience with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 scouring for rings and checkpoints. It's just not as fun that way. In that same vein, you could compare this game to Mario Sunshine, but unlike Mario Sunshine, you actually get a valuable reward once you collect all the Chaos Emeralds. But I'll be showing all that off in the extra part once the series is over, just some post-commentary. And I'll get into all the details with collecting the emeralds and the special stages and what your reward is then. Emerald Hill Act 2. Emerald Hill kind of starts a trend. You might notice this place is very similar to Green Hill Zone, and well, yeah, it kind of is. And a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog games will continue to use these kind of green hills and slopes. It's a very appropriate theme for a Sonic the Hedgehog game. I mean, he is an animal, he's trying to save the animal, so being in a very lush green environment is appropriate. Not to mention all these slopes and hills make a bit more sense in a natural environment than a man-made one. Now we have the boss battle, which you might be saying, what is a boss battle? It's only Act 2. There's another new mechanic in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. There's only 2 acts per zone in this game, which I think is a vast improvement. Well, it does make some zones go by very quickly. There are a lot more zones to make up for it, and generally you don't get tired of any zone at any point. But as you can see, the boss is very pathetic. A lot of the bosses in this game are. Ah, a fly just went into my eye. But once again, we're saving the animals. The story of the game is pretty much a complete rehash. Robotnik's captured animals, he's trying to launch like a space station or something. Go stop him. Pretty much the story. We gotta continue.